Coinciding with the 50th anniversary of ground troops landing in Vietnam is the Reporting Vietnam exhibit at Washington, D.C.'s museum. This exhibit features powerful photos and news footage, evocative music, and more. Included in that exhibit are the Pulitzer Prize-winning photos of David Hume Kennerly. David's photographs have come to symbolize the struggle both in Vietnam and at home. David joins us now with more. David, it's nice to have you on the show today.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
So in 1971, you were a 24-year-old UPI photographer in Vietnam, and today some of the equipment you used back then is on display in a museum. What do you remember about that time?
Well, I was 24. At that point, the American involvement in Vietnam was starting to wind down, and it was really important for me to get over there. 4 of my classmates from high school had already been in the war and been killed as soldiers. And as the class photographer, I felt it was really important to document what had happened to them and what the United States of America was going through at the time. I'm a professional photographer. I think if I would have missed Vietnam, I never would have forgiven myself. It was the war that all the kids my age were going to and fighting, and that was my motivation for going over to Vietnam.
David, I understand that at times the military and press kind of butted heads during the Vietnam War, and some say that the press was kind of a reason why the war was lost. How do you feel about that statement?
I think the idea that the press lost the war in Vietnam is a myth. For one thing, there wasn't one time I showed up in the field with American GIs that they weren't happy to see me. We were their lifeline to the outside world. We were the ones telling their story. The Vietnam War was lost by the politicians and not by the press. We didn't start it. We documented what turned out to be a really bad idea that cost almost 60,000 American lives fighting that war. And what's really important to know is, like, people like me didn't have a political point of view about right or wrong. Should we be there? Should we not be there? I mean, I was just there telling the story. I'm a trained professional journalist. I really deeply believe you're not supposed to have an editorial point of view that you put out there, and I did not.
David, it's been a number of decades since the Vietnam War, and I'm sure you've seen these changes in technology. How do you think things have changed? I mean, in your opinion as a photographer, it seems like everyone thinks they're an expert now when it comes to taking photos, doesn't it?
Well, everybody is a photographer now with smartphones and all of that, but there's no replacement for the professional eye behind the camera. Morley Safer said it best. I feel the same way about citizen journalists that I do citizen surgeons. There's a place for us and everybody taking pictures. Like, I just wrote a book, David Hume Kennerly on the iPhone, where I tell people how to become better photographers, and I think it's great that everybody can share their experiences, but not everybody's a trained professional, whether that be a photographer, painter, writer. We do this with the highest degree of integrity, and there's got to be somewhere where you can get information that you trust. We are the people giving that to you.
David, that is no doubt some great information and a great point, and I think an incredible exhibit that really showcases a controversial time in American history. So if our viewers who want to find out more about your exhibit in the Washington, D.C. Museum, how can they do that?
They can go to newseum.org. And the museum itself is like located right between the White House and Capitol Hill, so it's not only convenient, but it's a place you really got to come in and see. And reporting the war in Vietnam, Reporting Vietnam is the name of the exhibit. It's open. You should come in here and see it. You'll see how we covered the war and get an idea of what it was like to go through that. It was not easy, but it was an important role that we played in making sure you knew what was going on over there.
David Hume Kennerly, it sounds like definitely a worthwhile weekend getaway for anyone in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.